just the same as if you'd have been standing here, like, you know, some early fossil forms, you know, some kind of Permian critter that was wandering around on the surface and looking. You would be able to imagine pretty much what they saw when they were here. That's a pretty cool thing. So it's like you've got your own time machine. If you're interested in Earth history and that, well, that's got to be a pretty cool thing to do. That's the first kind of thing, why you'd be here. The second thing might have something like an economic significance. So if we came out here and we were working on this rocks, why would we be doing it? Well, we might be doing something like a lease sale. You know, so you might be working for a company or even the government, and they might have an area gazetted that they want to lease it out so that people might want to explore for, you know, minerals, oil, gas, whatever it is. And so your company is going to have to put a bid in on that lease sale. Some lease sales are $500 million. They're pretty high rates of payment for the lease sales. And so if your job is to determine which block in the lease sale your company is going to buy, you'll want to make that decision correctly. Because if you make it wrong, you probably won't have that job much longer after that. And also, you'll want to do it from a position of strength. You want to do it from a position of knowledge, so that when you go back and look at the map and say, okay, there's 10 blocks that we're going to try and make a bid for, or if you're the government, you say, well, there's 10 blocks we're going to lease, which ones are we going to lease? You're the company, you're going to go, which ones are we going to buy? And you're going to want to have data to make that decision on. You're going to want to have done some background work that says, what are the rocks likely to be, and how are they going to vary over that lease block? So just as an example, if we figure we're in a coastal environment and we've identified where the good coastal rocks are from outcropping geology, and we can identify where the orientation of the coastline is, then we might go along that coastline and choose lease blocks that are along the coastline. If we're looking for coastal sandy facies, if we're looking for coaly facies, we don't want to do that. We certainly don't want to go out that way because that's ocean. So any lease block that's seaward of where we put shoreline, probably not going to be a good coal block, for example, for exploration. If we're looking for river channel oil reservoirs, we want to go that way. And they're not going to be very far that way or that way. They're going to be fairly linear, and they're going to be organised back from the coastline. So very briefly, when you do the interpretation of these areas, you end up with a paleogeography and a set of parameters or properties that the rocks have got, which you'll use then to predict where you'd go in the lease block sale, for example. What you don't want to do, for example, you don't want to have like a consultant come along and try and sell you his idea of where you should buy the lease block for a fee. So maybe a consultant comes along and maybe his name is Donald, for example, and he says, look, you know, I've done all this work here. I'm really a good geologist. I really know everything about this area. Lots of people have told me what a good geologist I am and how much I know about this area. And so you should take my word for it and buy that lease block over there and give me a 5% commission or something like that. And you probably guess who the Donald is that I'm talking about, but you don't want to take his word for it. You actually want to do the work yourself and make the determination yourself. And it's based on exactly what we're going to do today. Measuring sections, finding what the parameters are in the rocks, and making an understanding and a paleogeography of the area so that you can make your determinations on it. Third thing that is pretty cool about doing this kind of stuff, that's still with me, and I've been doing it for over 40 years now, you get to do it here. Okay, You're not stuck in an office looking down a computer tallying up numbers all day, doing statistics or something like that. If that's your thing, you probably shouldn't be on this trip. This is a trip for people that like to learn about the Earth and work in places like this a lot. So that's the third thing what I think is pretty cool about being on trips like this. All right, so what is it that we're going to